Hello everyone, I'm Wendell Jones and welcome to another edition of the program, The Platform. On this program, we examine the national issues of the Bahamas and sometimes international issues. In recent weeks, we've seen many things before the courts of the Bahamas with respect to investment in the Bahamas. There have been many arguments before our High Court. Indeed, there have been many injunctions before the courts of the Bahamas for judicial review of projects in the Bahamas. And one such action has to do with Nygard Key. And we know from reading our newspapers that there have been overtures made by Mr. Peter Nygard to people who are involved with Save the Bays and other organizations dealing with the environment to bury the hatchet, so to speak, and to come together to resolve a number of issues with respect not only to Nygard Key but to Clifton, and to do away with the legal actions before the courts. Since then, we have not spoken with Mr. Nygard personally, but now today we are privileged to have him as our guest on the program today. Peter Nygard is well known throughout the Bahamas for his philanthropy, for what he has done for scores of Bahamians, or what he is doing for the environment, among other things. And so it is once again a pleasure to have him as our guest on the program. Peter Nygard, welcome.
Always nice to be back here.
Nice to see you, and you're looking fitter and fitter.
Fitter and fitter. Yeah. No, this program I'm on really does work. You know, I mean, I think that's a good place to start. Everybody who sees me, you know, after years, they say, "My God, you're looking younger and younger," and my body's getting stronger and stronger, better and better shape all the time. It's not a matter of bragging. It's really a matter that what I'm on really works. You know, and what I'm on is to reverse my age, to stop the aging process, and in fact make us get younger. It is a phenomenal statement. You know, you have sort of parallel this to this great Steve Jobs, and he really created a huge electronic communication system for us, and became really one of the most famous people in the world for the right, justified reasons. What I'm on dwarfs that. This is about our own health. This is about our own longevity. This is about the most important thing to every human being is how we age and how we prevent ourselves from getting ill, how we can give ourselves a longer and longer life, a healthy longer and longer life. And I'm just getting more and more indoctrinated into it.
Having regard to your work schedule, your workload, you have businesses around the world. You have been dealing with a large number of issues, not only in the Bahamas but elsewhere. One wonders how you get the time to do the kind of things that you do.
I do. I wonder about that as well. I have never been busier in my life. I am working at every moment, every place I go, everywhere where I'm taking a shower and I'm working. And in that you have to squeeze in your exercising. And then I do exercise with great deal of intensity. You know, that exercising is the toughest thing you can do. It is so tough to get in there and run out of breath, because that's what you really have to do in order to exercise correctly. You have to exercise your heart and your lungs, and the only way you can do that is to run out of breath, to get that heart really working and get those lungs really taking in that oxygen, and to be able to shoot that through your body. But to get that discipline, to be able to be self-motivated like that, that's a biggie. Most people need a trainer or something to remind them that, you know, and fortunately for me, that I've been always sort of self-motivated, and I feel guilty. I feel guilty if I don't do those 400 push-ups.
And you do it every day?
Every day. Every day. I don't look for any reason. I'd rather keep my appointment waiting than to go past that, you know, because we really are full of excuses. Well, not today, it's raining out, and whatever the excuses are. And it's training your body to get into that groove. And I've seen so many people who are in that groove, and when they're in that groove, they just got to put that time aside, etc. And I do, you know, and I feel all the time I'm not doing enough, but at least I'm doing, you know.
You're doing something.
And I think the key thing is intensity. You really gotta hurt yourself a bit. you know, you really got to go push yourself further, as if you don't have any more breath in you. You know, you're running out of breath, as if you really cannot do one more push up, you know, etc. So, because most people go through these motions, you know, and while it's good, it doesn't really build. You really got to build. You know, there is a thing, if you don't hurt the muscle a bit, you're not really building, you know, and then because that's the process of building, like muscles, for example. But same thing if you're not out of breath or getting some sweat on you. If you're not getting some sweat on you, you're not losing any weight, you know. So there is an issue of really pushing this issue a little bit further and doing it with more intensity. Never mind just doing it, but doing it with intensity.
You're 74, so you intend to continue to do this for...
You know,
definitely.
As soon as I stop any of it, down it goes. You know, now you ran a picture of me in the back. It is my new picture. You know that I'm running for 2016. But that picture now is symbolic of really where I'm at in my life at this stage. And when people see the picture of 25 years ago and see the new picture, they think the new one is 25 years. They think it's reversed. And it really maps me out right now. And I sort of want to catch that in history right now, you know, and that's why I even ran that picture. We're putting that on the hang tags now. And what that symbolizes is a symbolization of being healthy, symbolization of building your muscle, symbolization of being in shape, symbolization of being casual, you know. And that's what my pants also represent that. They represent a new lifestyle, you know. And what is the word slims? To make you slimmer. Now we get slimmer in many ways, but in my slims alone, make you slimmer already automatically. But with that comes the whole message of please eat right. Please do exercise. Please take care of your hormonal balances and prevent the medicine. So I sort of carry with that picture the whole message, you know, with it, you know.
And so that is an encouragement to women as well to exercise more. Eh?
It is. It really is. And the picture says, gosh, you know, look at how young he looks. And then the next statement is, I want to do that. Bingo. That's bingo. That's over there right there. So I've sort of updated myself as well on here, and I am living proof that what I'm doing, living proof that this works, physically and internally right now, and
mentally as well.
And mentally as well. Mentally as well. That's right. I'm out there getting ahead of myself. Look, I have muscles and bones and skin of a 25-year-old, but I still have joints of a 70-year-old. On my knees, on my shoulders, on my back, are collapsing on me. But I am not sitting still. Now, I am finding ways of rebuilding cartilage. I am finding ways of rebuilding our connective tissues right now. I am actively involved with that. You know, so whatever is breaking down on me, man, I am out there trying to cure it. You know, and I'm so intense about it. So right now, you know, like what you see is not a perfect human being. I got bad knees.
I see.
I'll admit it.
Yes.
Because you know the thing is that when you get to 70s, you are going to break down. You know, and you better recognize that, but try to prevent yourself from breaking down. But once you do, there's ways of solving that right now. And one of the key words is this word called stem cells.
Stem cells.
Yeah.
I know that we can talk about slims, we can talk about stem cells, the environment, and many other issues. And sometimes when I have you before me, sometimes I don't know where to begin. But I want to talk a bit about the overture that you made to Louis Bacon and all of the other people who've been involved in this long feud here in the Bahamas with respect to your property, some of the judicial reviews that we have before our courts. Why did you thought that you should make the overture to settle all of these issues?
You know, the earlier topic really very well jives into the topic you just brought out, you know, this issue of my neighbor. Earlier topic was very significant, the stem cell topic. And as we've also had on this program, a tape that I played that really is world famous tape, you know, where I returned myself to age 0. And the ramifications of that. But the whole concept that the Prime Minister and I had is to bring this wonderful new stem cell medicine into Bahamas. You know, that's the reason he wrote these laws. You know, and that's the reason that I had taken him out on the truth before he was ever Prime Minister. You know, said, look at, if we ever want to put Bahamas on the map, Mr. Prime Minister, and you do want to do that, and he does. He says, this is the way to do it. So he became very learned about that whole thing. And he actually did some speeches about that very thing that I had taken him on the road. So he didn't put those laws together for naive reasons and for any self-serving reasons for me. He did it for all of Bahamas. And we have not got traction on that after 3 years now. And that takes us all the way back to Mr. Louis Bacon. He has done everything in his power behind the scenes to put stoppages on everything, to belittle it, to stop the Prime Minister from looking good, and from working harmoniously with me as well as other people, doctors, etc., to put this across in a real proper way. He, Louis Bacon, does not want this Prime Minister to win the next election, does not want this Prime Minister to win, does not want this Prime Minister to succeed. And over and over, you got this alligator in our swimming pool over here, keep biting away at it, and we can't go for a decent swim, you know, get all these kind of things done. And it's best symbolized by just a very small issue in regards to me. You know, but you know, Bahamara was part of this kind of similar kind of thing, you know, doing a deal with the Prime Minister up front and then doing an end run on him, you know, as he did with Bahamara kind of thing, you know, and he's done a deal with me and with Louis Bacon's representatives and doing an end run on him, you know, and throwing him into courts, etc. This whole thing started way back when the other government, and the other government, you know, was I don't want to use bad words here, you know, but there was not such nice things going on there, you know, in terms of me, you know, and influences that Louis Bacon had were way in excess of what he should have had. And they had already decided and sent out bids. Can you imagine this? Bids to tear down Nygard Key completely. After 30 years of it standing there proudly, after 30 years of being 1/8 wonder of the world, after 30 years inviting everybody over to join that place, 30 years of the government bringing investor after investor into the country, showing how beautiful this facility is, how well entrepreneurs like myself and business people can work with the government to get things done. And after all that, all of a sudden, we got this strange request to show, prove it to me, that everything you have done for the last 30 years was legal. Prove it, and if you can't prove it to me, tear the place down. Holy God, I thought it was a joke, a very bad joke. But you know, it was that close to being real. And I gotta give the Prime Minister Ingram at that time some credit here, you know, and he put a stop to it. He had no legal jurisdiction to send out such application invitations, and he stopped it smartly, you know. So here comes the new government, you know, and they now had in front of them my application to build my home in there, a burnt down home, and they have an application, you know, to do that. And Mr. Bacon said there's environmental damage. So they went through and checked that out, got the best, most professional consultants that there are in the world, not once but twice, you know, and there's some lots of money had been spent on these people to prove without a doubt that there has been zero environmental damage, that everything that Louis Bacon was proposing to do was false. And they were completely satisfied that they were completely within their legal jurisdiction to issue the permit to build, as well as the lease on which some of the building was going to be occurring, and has already occurred on government land. It had occurred on government land 30 years ago, and with a letter saying, we will give you a lease for these things that we approved you to build it, because it's a very narrow piece of property, you know, and never delivered that lease. So I said to him, you can't have this Louis Bacon keep coming at me without that I don't have a lease. Please lease the property to me then. I said, okay, and they had prepared this. And what happened? it is unheard of in a history of judicial systems that Louis Bacon took an injunction against the government to stop them from being able to authorize the lease.
And the question is why?
And it was the craziest reason of them all, which was unheard of. The junction was across 1 mile away down near Jaws Beach, you know, that you need binoculars to see from my place. There was an injunction issued against the government to stop the government from allowing the dock to be built there for the Bahamian people. A dock for the Bahamian people, the dock that had been torn down by Louis Bacon's people, so as to prevent the Bahamians to come in and launch their boats, the very same boats that they go out fishing for their livelihood every day, the ones that they've been doing it for 30, 40, 50 years over there, they no longer had this dock. You know, they pretended that it was torn by a hurricane, down by a hurricane, and it was put shampoo. Fine, then people want to rebuild it. The injunction was to stop them from rebuilding it. Stop them from rebuilding a dock for the Bahamian people on their Bahamian land, you know.
You had something to do in the funding people to rebuild the dock.
Oh, sure. I'm out there helping any time with Bahamian people. Yeah, I said, by all means, go ahead. I'm all for it. Build the dock back and give them a chance to launch their thing. I've been a fighter for Bahamians to have rights to that Jaws Beach from get-go. You know, and Mr. Bacon doesn't like me for that, you know. I've been a person who's been inviting Bahamians to Nygard Key, but also across there for the Clifton, Jaws Beach over there. But presumably because they put this injunction in there, I became what you call an ex parte, or fifth part. And I'm 1 mile away across the bay over there, and that injunction now applied to me as well. What is this? You know, and anybody says that doesn't make any sense to get and it was done in the name of Save the Bays. Well, Save the Bays is just a cover for Mr. Louis Bacon. It's just today's way of putting a hood over your head. You know, you hide behind something because you don't want to be upfront yourself about it. Fred Smith is just a token for Bacon's mouthpiece to keep me in lawsuits. You know, that's what he gets paid for, millions of dollars. So here I got caught with an injunction. Now, that I can't even fight. The Prime Minister has to immediately, within 2 weeks, get rid of that injunction and then take action as his responsibility to do so. His responsibility is to make those decisions. That's what we hired him to do.
Good. So they sued the government, including the Prime Minister. They wanted to stop whatever was taking place at Clifton and Nygard Key.
Yeah.
And the question is why. Now, from various newspaper ads that Save the Bay has been running in the newspaper, we saw that they claim that you expanded your land, doubled the size of your land. Speak to that. Yeah,
a big exaggeration as to how they showed those pictures as to where my expanded land was. There's a certain amount of expansion of the land, there's a certain amount of the buildings that were done with approval on government's land, meaning that my land is here and then there's 10 feet or 20 yards further, put some pilings in there. It's a very narrow piece of property, and we had approved, and step by step by the government, every step of the way, all our approvals were in place. So what they picture as being expanded, like they have the beach as if it's my land, it's government's land, but they just make it seem like my land because it suits their purpose right now.
It's government land.
It's government land.
And this is land that you would want to lease.
Well, this is I want to lease now because there's such a controversy about the fact that I'm using this government land, presumably for personal usage. So fine, okay, so lease the land to me then. You've already promised me you're going to lease the land to me. And by the way, there was one issue that was very significant. My marina that I inherited with the property way back 30, 40 years ago was always full of sand. You know, and twice a year we'd have to take the sand out and put it down on the right-hand side, which formed that bit of a beach on there. And then it would go right back into the thing again. And that was a routine now for the last 30 or 40 years. And I just segue here for a second. Same issue as Jarvis Beach has for Lyford Key's own channel. Jarvis Beach loses that sand into that channel. Then once a year or so, they have to put that sand back onto the Jarvis Beach. The migration of sand seemed to always find itself into these kind of bays, right? So that was happening with me all the time. Also, what happened to me, and there's pictures earlier, my beach was on the north side. It was an extension of the Lyford Key beach all the way down there. But to 1996, a big El Nino, and it was proven El Nino shifts occurred, and we lost a lot of sand all the way up and down Lyford Key beach. I was the worst to lose it. It started first at my point. I lost all of it. You know, and all of a sudden, what used to be beach, I just have water, you know. And in fact, my first cabana was called Beach Cabana because I built it on a beach with permission, and now we're sitting in the water, you know. So we had this natural accretion of land. I guess that's the right word. Accretion.
Yeah, accretion yes.
Of land. And it came back around the point, it came back onto my south side. And then it went to always find itself back into my marina, you know. So I asked permission to build a blockage like most people can and do to stop it from leaving my beach and stop it from going into my marina, you know. So, and I got permission to that, you know, and therefore the sand that accrued against that thing became a little bit bigger than before. It used to go in the marina, now it stayed over here.
So that caused the expansion of your beach?
That caused the expansion of the beach, that's right. I lost it from the north side and I gained it on the south side, you know. And all with permission. Now, I then applied to get a way of putting berms up, like everyone else, to prevent myself from losing sand off my beach and to prevent it from going into the marina. And my God, you think I could get it? You got 30 people in Lyford Key that all got it. You can go up and down anywhere over here. Everybody's protecting these beaches. And I'm the only guy who can't get the permission for that. What's wrong with this picture? What did I do wrong, Mr. Prime Minister? I was applying for it, and I'm still applying for it right now. You know, presumably, Mr. Bacon says it's causing environmental damage.
We're going to pick that point up. Let's take a break here. This is The Platform, and we have Peter Nygard on our program today talking about the issues surrounding Nygard Key and Clifton. And we want to talk some more about the letter that you sent to everybody to drop all of these legal actions. We take this break and we'll come right back. Go ahead.